So right now, I'm about to go up to my job because I got a gift that I'm trying to get to a coworker who I was supposed to give to yesterday, but she didn't work yesterday. Excuse the weird camera angles. My hands are full. So the gift that I was planning on getting her is this little guy. It's a hedgehog. It's like an Fun plushie. So there's not a lot of these around. Apparently this was like a collection of sorts, I guess. And then they went ahead and I guess they sold out on most of them. So had to kind of look a little hard for this. And then it was on eBay and I'm like, I don't really trust eBay all that much. But I was just like, you know what, we gonna do it. And if they send it, they send it. If they don't, I get scammed. It was only like $20, so that's what it is. But all that aside, welcome to God Honesty. And I need to set up my camera again for the car. All right. Well, it took a few minutes for me to set that up. I would say we're making good time right now. I mean, it's still morning and she should be up there. She should be up there if my calculations are correct, which there is none because I can see her schedule. The only reason why I didn't know yesterday was because initially she was going to work, but I guess someone took her shift that day. I guess she posted it. She posted her shift and someone took it. Either way, pretty much checked again today, this morning, and it says that she was still working, so it should be A-okay. And we're gonna get this to her. I know she likes hedgehogs, so she should probably love this. Now, the reason I'm doing this in the first place is because she had a bad birthday, and the day on her birthday, she came in, I was working, and she told me about it. She told me it was her birthday. I didn't even know it was her birthday. And she told me that, like a lot of things weren't really going according to the plan for her birthday, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I would say is probably personal business that I can't get into. Either way, I heard all that, and it just made me think about my last two birthdays that didn't go according to plan. We tried to make the most of it, and I was heartbroken because overall I would say my birthday wasn't great for the past 2 years, and that really upset me. So I know what it's like to have a bad birthday, a birthday that doesn't go according to plan, and I just thought maybe this would maybe brighten it up a little bit. Although it's way past her birthday, maybe this will kind of just make up for it to some extent. So that's the whole reason I'm doing it anyways. Now, I'm not going to record the whole interaction or me walking in, mostly just because, for starters, I don't want to put her on camera, and I just find it incredibly awkward to walk in with a camera in my hand, like as if I'm recording, and I would actually be recording to some of it. But I don't want to do that. I just want a genuine interaction, and then I can just come back and tell y'all what happened. It's a genuine interaction. I'm not trying to get clout or anything like that. I'm doing it for views and stuff like no, like no. I just want a whole genuine interaction. So initially, I wasn't even going to record this, but I'm like, I haven't made another podcast episode, so we're just going to do this real quick. I'm just going to record this, and then we can get into what I'm actually here to talk about. So I'm turning this into, a vlog, and then a podcast episode since I haven't made one for the past few weeks since my baptism. We just got through giving my coworker her gift. I'm just letting y'all know that this coworker, she's awesome. She's amazing, absolutely amazing. She reminds me a lot like my auntie, which is why I kind of go out of my way to do things for other people, especially if they are really significant to me in some regards. So she reminds me a lot of my auntie, being very sweet and kind, and then she has this little tenacious side to her that you kind of see, but she's in a professional setting, so you don't see it in his at his max. So it just really reminds me a lot of her, and I kind of have to hold myself back from calling her auntie because I'd be real close to doing it. So she really loved the gift, and I'm telling you, God's timing is something else entirely because she is kind of going through it, and I'm just like, yeah, she definitely needed this. Just a simple gift, nothing too crazy, but it was still much needed. That's why I'm just like, because at first it wasn't the gift wasn't arriving on time, and it was kind of frustrating that the gift was going to be late and everything else like that. So at first I'm kind of frustrated because okay, well this gift is going to be late. It's not going to be on time. I ordered it the day that she told me. The day that she told me that her birthday wasn't good, I ordered it specifically that day. And the fact that it was going to be late kind of just frustrated me when it wasn't going to arrive on the Friday that I had ordered it. Because it was supposed to come like on the Friday of that week. The thing is, though, when it comes to eBay, distance matters. So I kind of knew that it might not arrive on the day that it told me it would, considering the person who delivered it to me lived in New York. What more did you expect? Either way, I was probably going to get it late anyways. But that's okay because God's timing was still spot on. She's going through something, and I believe that that plush will help to some significance. And that's ultimately what matters. And I think that kind of helped and relieved some of the pain from her birthday not being as great as it should have. So either way, I'm happy I bought it. Now, I did tell her I was making a video. I didn't tell her that I was going to be talking about this little thing, but she also did tell me that because I kind of don't know what I want to talk about. I was just going to kind of think of something on the fly. But she did tell me that, well, an idea would be talking about um, mental health and illnesses and God's promise. So I can talk about that. But first, I'm going to eat this yogurt, go inside, order my food, and then we can go ahead and talk about it.
Testing. All right. So, all right. So first and foremost, I just got home. Actually, I've been home for about like an hour, if not 2 hours by now. I was up in there. I was eating, getting my grub in and whatnot. Unfortunately, when I did leave and I recorded, the mic I had on me suddenly went mute. So everything I was saying is not on record. So what I did say was I was there. My phone was about to die, so I didn't record anything. When I was charging it over there, people started coming in, and it was too loud for me to actually start talking, and it would just be my voice trying to project over the voices of other people. Not something that you want to do when you're trying to make a podcast episode. So that's a no. So I'm here, and we're going to start talking about um, sickness and mental health. Now, this is kind of on the fly. I ain't planning anything, so I would have to do a more in-depth dive with with stuff that I planned in a later video, and we're just gonna kind of skim over what the Lord says about sickness and mental health. So went on ahead, did some quick research, and so first things first, Psalm 41:3. The Lord sustains them on their sick bed and restores them from their bed of illness. Proverbs 16:24 says, gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul, and healing to the bones. Isaiah 41, verse 10 says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And Romans 8:28 says, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So what we can collect from this is that no matter what it is that you're going through, God is always going to be there. And if it is not in his will, it will not happen. And if we are in situations that God allows to happen, he always has a plan to make it better. Even if it might not seem as if everything's good in the moment, or if things take a turn for the worse, sometimes things have to get worse before they can get better. God is always in the process of, well, first things first, God is always calling you. If you're not a believer, God is always trying to call you. He's always knocking on your door. It isn't until you say that you want nothing to do with God that God might start backing off a little bit. He might still be trying to call you through other people and whatnot, but if it's like really set in stone in your heart that you really don't want nothing to do with him and whatnot, like you reject him, pretty much blasphemy and all that, God will just let you turn you over to your own desires, as he has done in the Old Testament. But other than that, God is always, calling you. So, starting there, when you're with God and, God is calling you and all that stuff, God allows things to happen, and God is always in the process of turning us into diamonds, let's say. The process of diamonds is that it has to be pressed down and it has to be heated and all the other stuff. Like, God is like turning us into steel or silver ingots and whatnot. So we're in the furnace. He's, you know, working us. So he's putting us in the furnace. He's adding a lot of pressure and whatnot, so we can be, let's say, swords, for example, swords of God, or tools, righteous tools and whatnot. So we go through things because he's always refining us. He's always in the process of refining, making us better. And in order for that to happen, we have to be rid of certain things, or we have to go through certain things. So he allows things to happen, and ultimately these things will turn out for our betterment. So as Romans 8:28 says, all things God works for the good of those who love him. So even the bad things will be worked for our good. So he might let some things happen so we can be able to minister to other people. Someone in the family might die, and he will allow that to happen so we can minister to other people and be able to empathize with them. So Exodus 23:25, worship the Lord your God, and his blessing will be on your food and water. I will take away sickness from among you. Jeremiah 33:6, nevertheless I will bring health and healing to it. I will heal my people and will let them enjoy abundant peace and security. Now, ultimately, if you have given your life to Christ, whatever it is that's going on, if you're sick or you're battling something, there's so many ways that it could go. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that, you will eventually get better, because it's the Lord's will at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it is the Lord's will. Whether he's going to use this, he's going to take the individual who is going through it, or he's going to use that as a miracle to preach to other people. Either way, God will always use something to make it good, whether it's letting the person be taken by the illness, or he uses that, he heals them and then uses it as a way to show a miracle that only he could do. So either way, it's for the betterment. And as long as you're with God, as long as you believe in him and believe that his plans, his desire, his will is ultimately and will always be better, then there's nothing for you to worry about. At the end of the day, it's the Lord's will, right? If the Lord wants it done, we should have faith that he's letting this happen for a good reason. Even if at the end of the day it sucks. That's something that I battle with too. Something I've always battled with was depression. That's something I was battling with since I was 13. I was battling with that for like 8 years, and it's been 8 years, and sometimes I still might get depressed, but for 6 of those years, it was like crippling depression. Like I had to be sent to a mental health facility because it was just that bad. Like I was at risk of unaliving myself. So I was battling with that for a long time. I was always trying to figure out, why am I going through this? Why are so many things happening? Why do I just want to die? I don't want to live anymore, etc., etc., etc. And it was a lot. And my family was definitely concerned about me. Some people in my circle did not understand what I was going through. And it was a plague. It was like my life would be so much better if I didn't have to deal with this. And my life would be so much better if I wasn't here anymore. Now, how I got out of depression, let's say in cases of mental illness, this is just me. I'm not going to say this is a plan for anyone and that it will 100% work. God works with people very differently. That's the unique thing about the Lord, is that everyone's journey is always different. Everyone's relationship with God is always different. There are some things that are always the same because he's the same today, tomorrow, and every other day. But our relationship with him are like relationships with other people. It's always different. He works with everyone differently. So this is not a 100% guide on how to get out of depression, but I can say that this is what worked for me. First and foremost, what you always got to do is pray. I prayed and I changed habits. So one thing that I still do to this day is open my blinds. Like, you can see the light coming in. This is not a ceiling light or anything. This is just light coming in from the sun. So open my blinds and I'm letting the sun in, just letting some of that vitamin D get in, or I go outside. Another thing I started doing, working out. Working out, biologically speaking, improves the mental state. So might as well do that instead of just lazing around the house. 3, try to be productive, or act like you're going to be productive. Get out of bed, make your bed. As I said, open the blinds. Instead of walking around in lazy clothes like you're still going to bed, or, you know, walking around in your pajamas and then just staying inside the house with your pajamas on, put on some actual clothes. Act like you're going to do something today, even if you're not. So those are things that I started doing, just adding that to my routine, and it was a significant improvement. Hygiene, take a shower, brush your teeth, put on some deodorant, start doing a skincare routine. I'm telling you, ever since I started doing all this, my depression has been pretty much gone. I still battle with life struggles, and those things can definitely impact me and make me feel some sort of depression, or put me in a place where I kind of want to unalive myself. I had a situation like 3 months ago where I was pretty much going back into that state. Still doing my routines and everything. It's just life, and then the things that were happening were so bad, it definitely got me to that place. Immediately went to therapy and we started talking about it. Talking about it helps. Find someone you can confide in. Find someone you can confide in and talk to them, or a therapist. Just do that. But what I can tell you is that, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when that was happening, way before then, I wasn't really in the presence of God. I wasn't really having a relationship with him, wasn't really talking to him. I wasn't even really reading my Bible like that. I didn't have a church congregation to go to. So to take this into perspective, when I first was getting out of depression, I had God with me. When I got out of it, and then I was doing fine, and eventually life happened and I didn't have a church to go to, and even without a church, I still wasn't trying to read my Bible or talk to him or anything like that. That's when things started to just shake, and the foundation that I used was now pretty much gone because of my neglect. And it wasn't until I was like, and it wasn't until I was at work and people were talking to me, telling me, go to church, go to church, go to church. And I was just, telling people about my issues and whatnot. The only thing that people were really saying was, it sounds like you should go to church. People were just saying that, go to church. I was like, you should probably go to church, pray, and, go to church. And eventually it just got to the point where I was just like, yeah, man, if people are saying the same thing, it might be God trying to tell you something. So that's what I did. I went to church. Now, that's not to say that my life has improved and, things are handy dandy, but what I can tell you is that I'm not depressed. I'm still going through it, but I'm not depressed. I'm just trying to handle it, deal with my business. Life sucks, but It's better than being depressed. It's better than being depressed, is what I'm saying. So if you just have faith that regardless of the situation, you're going to be fine, whether you die or not, like that's my whole thing. That's my take on it. Coming from someone who's a realist and uh, an aspiring therapist or aspiring counselor. Regardless of the situations in life, God never told us that life on this earth would be easy. And in fact, he stated the opposite. He said that those who aren't with him, they might be living a life that's awesome and you're smiling and whatnot. Like they might be living great while we are struggling and eventually going to be getting persecuted in his name. He pretty much stated that. And he said, but when they persecute you, be glad knowing that this is what I've called you to. Like, know that not only this is what he called us to, but this is a testament to his return. What he said would happen is going to come to pass. And in that, we can find joy in the fact that this is also a sign that he's going to be returning soon. Heaven is going to return. Jesus is going to come back. And we will be living an eternity with him. New bodies. Not this flesh. New bodies. No illnesses. No sadness. No, none of that. None of that. You ain't gotta worry about heartbreak. You ain't gotta worry about no monies. You ain't gotta worry about bills. You ain't gotta worry about none of that. So another analogy that someone used was, I wonder if I could use like a pen or something, but um imagine a regular size ruler. That regular ruler is your life. Your life on this earth. Now, how you choose to live this life will decide how you live your eternity. Now, take a measuring tape and then just stretch it all the way out. That's eternity. Definitely greater than that ruler that you're imagining. Way longer. But that's your eternity. How you choose to live this life is going to that's how you're going to end up living your eternity. If you believe in Jesus that he died on the cross for you and your sins, you'll be living in eternity. You'll be living that measuring tape your entire eternity. That's all there is to it, mate. So, no matter the situation, no matter what it is that you're going through, it will always work out. It will always work out for the best. I mean, we could use the analogy of Job here. Come on now. Like, we got the book of Job. Did you not see what that man was going through? Bro had warts all over his body that was just hurting the entire time. His own wife was like, just dropped dead and cursed God. All his kids died. His house was gone. His riches were gone. His land was pretty much in shambles. The only thing that he had to even remotely comfort him were like 3 or 4 friends that came to try and talk to him. The only thing Joe could do in that situation was just continue complaining because, I mean, you're in pain, your wife kind of sucks, and your life is in shambles. You ain't got nothing. Imagine if he was living in the 21st century dealing with all that, plus the fact that now he's homeless. Imagine all that, though. Man, that really does suck when you think about it. Mm. But eventually, he got everything back plus, like, he got everything back tenfold. I don't know if it was a new wife. I can't remember that much. But, he had his wife, more kids, more money, more houses, more land, more goats, sheeps, and cattle, and bro just had more of everything that he had previously lost, just because he had faith that regardless of everything that I'm going through, I won't curse God. I won't curse God at all. God didn't chastise him or rebuke him for complaining the entire time. I'm pretty sure he understood that he's going through all this because I'm testing him. The devil said that the only reason he doesn't curse you is because you have a protection over his head and he has everything that he could ever want. If you take that away, if you take that hedge of protection off, symboling the fact that God was protecting him from the get go, and all he did was take that off and allowed the devil to come in and then destroy everything. He said, you could do whatever you want, but you can't kill him. You cannot take his life. Meaning that God still had complete control over the devil and the overall situation. Meaning nothing was going to happen unless God allows it. The same way that if you're going through any mental illnesses or sickness, God is complete. He is completely in control of it. Now, not to be dark or anything, but if whatever it is that any of us are going through in the future or here and now, whether it is our final breath or the rest of our lives, all we can do is just have faith that it'll be okay. That overall God is still in control, no matter the situation. I mean, I would rather put my faith in God and knowing that eventually I'm gonna be living in eternity with a new body and everything, regardless of how this life ends up as a result, than to try and do my own thing, rely on myself, and hope for the best. One of the interesting things when I was at church, the pastor said that, would you continue to believe in God? Would you continue to have your faith in Him, regardless if your current situation doesn't get better? Because we all want to have faith in God and everything when things are really good and really great. But then we all turn our backs on Him the moment that things start to get bad. Despite some of us knowing that in the future things won't be as great, we will be having wars, plagues, Christians will be getting persecuted and killed. We all know this is gonna, like, if you're in the faith, you know that all this is going to happen. So why would you lose faith knowing that God literally said this is a sign of my coming? Rejoice, be happy in it. So I had to sit there for a moment and think about the fact that my situation right now really sucks and I really don't want this to get any worse. But at the end of the day, will I still have faith in God knowing that my situation could probably get worse? And I decided that I'm still going to believe regardless. I'm still going to have faith. Because if we treated life as if we treated our relationships, if we treated our marriages, our friendships in that regard, as if I will only stick around when things are good, but the moment that it gets bad, I'll leave. will just show how much loyalty, discipline, integrity you have. So I would rather stick it for the long run. I'd rather die in it. I'd rather die in my faith regardless. No matter if I was dealing with a certain mental illness or a sickness, I would rather die in my faith regardless of the circumstance, believing that regardless if I die in this, God is going to use it for someone else's betterment. If I die today, God is probably going to use this for someone else's betterment. Because his plan is always greater than my own. He's God. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. He sees everything, knows everything. He knows what's going to happen 5 to 10 seconds from now, a week from now, a year from now, 100 years from now. He has everything planned out. He knows what's going to happen. Why not just believe the guy who has a really clean track record? So I would rather believe the guy who has a clean track record, and in the Bible, he has all this knowledge. He clearly comprised 66 books into one book, full of knowledge and wisdom and everything that you could possibly want. The book, you not only read the book, but the book reads you. And it's a living testament that dates back so long ago that people to this day argue, bicker, try and disprove it, believe in it, and hold it up to the highest standard. And you even got the government trying to ban it. Not only in this country, but in Canada, China, and almost everywhere else across the globe. You either support it, you hate it, you ban it, you kill people over it. You don't even want people really saying Jesus around you. Like, yet when you actually understand the Bible, you're just in awe of it. And you're just wondering, how can people hate this? And you just realize that maybe the devil does exist. Maybe the devil does exist. Maybe he is pulling the strings behind the scenes, trying to get people to look at and blame God for everything rather than look at him and realize that he's pulling everything behind the scenes, trying to get people to believe in different false idols rather than believe in God, because that would be breaking the first commandment. But they're kind of confused, thinking that, oh, God, this is God, or this is God, or this is God, when he's also clearly laughing in your face and pointing to the real God by mocking him and having every celebrity mock him. I don't know, but that's my take on that topic. Anyways, to summarize it, just have faith, because God is either going to use it for your betterment or for someone else's betterment. You either be a proven testimony and a miracle, or things might have to get worse before they get better, to put it lightly. So that's it on that topic. And whatever it is that any of y'all are going through, I know this was somewhat of a requested topic that my coworker gave me. I'm not sitting here saying that she did request me to talk on this. She kind of just gave me the idea, but I took it as a request. So whether she's watching this or not, this isn't really just me saying this to her, but for anyone else who's dealing with this situation, because I've dealt with mental illness And, my father was recently in the hospital dealing with some actual health issues. And he'll probably be dealing with health issues going forward that we're going to have to look, keeping a close eye on him about. So I know what it's like. I've been there. So things might get worse before they get better, or it'll be a miracle. But at the end of the day, you should probably just have faith in God nonetheless. Not to be grim, but you could always just look back into those Bible verses knowing that God has kept his promises. God will always keep his promises. God does not change. He was the same today, yesterday, tomorrow, and forevermore. So with that being said, make sure you follow God and stay unfitted.